Hey guys, so this video is going to be about how to place orders in Cerner, and then also the last part of it will be about order favorites. So first I'm going to do kind of like an example of putting an order in for a medication. So you go to this tab here and you can just click add. Um, and then, well, I guess first I'll show you this tab. So this has all the orders in it. So it's like medications and everything. And then you can categorize this by either showing all the orders or only the active orders. Generally, when I'm on inpatient, I'll switch this to all active orders, and it just makes it easier to kind of see where you're working with. Um, let's see. So as an example, um, I'm going to order metoprolol. So you just type in kind of the first few letters and it comes up. So 50 milligrams. So say in this case, we're going to continue this patient's metoprolol tartrate, 50 milligrams BID or twice daily. So I put it in and then make sure you change the supervisor's name to whoever your attending is. Um, when you're doing inpatient medicine, you don't need to put anything under the diagnosis. I think rarely we'll put something in their comments, but generally not. So most of it's this tab here. Oh, sorry, and then let me make this full screen so we can see the whole thing. I'm gonna get this out of the way. Okay, so let's see. So this is what it's gonna look like. So put in the supervisor's name of your attending, the dose, milligrams, route of administration you can change. So we want oral. And then in this case, this is the patient's home medication. They take it twice a day. So switch this to BID, so twice daily. And then let's say they came in and you're admitting the patient and they didn't take their morning dose, but their blood pressure is high. So say it's like noon or something and you want to give them a dose right now. And then after that, you'll just restart in the evening on their normal schedule. So make sure the first dose is scheduled for now. You could also do stat if it's super important, but I think now is fine. And then the next section here is kind of the duration. So since this is a medication we want the patient to be on pretty much like indefinitely or for the foreseeable future, you would just say like days 30 is kind of the default. Um, most medications will have a default, like I think most of the antibiotics default at 5 days. Um, but make sure you're kind of aware of that. Like if you are just wanting it for a certain, like say a 24-hour period, you could even change this to like a number of hours that you want it. Um, like say you're doing a PRN med and you want it available to the patient for like an 18-hour period, you can switch that. And then whenever you're doing kind of a changing the schedule, so we started it is now, but it's a BID med and it's not morning, this is going to pop up. So it just kind of clarifies with you that you want to give it right now, like in the afternoon, and then also 9 p.m. again. So you have to click that. Um, and then for some medications, they have kind of holding parameters here. So metoprolol tartrate is gonna like lower the blood pressure and the heart rate. So it automatically defaults to a holding parameter. So the nurse won't give the medication if the blood pressure systolically is less than 100. You can also add in like say there if you don't want the nurse to give it if the blood or if the heart rate is say like less than 70, then you can add that in. Or you could add the diastolic, and then you click this if it's PRN. Um, I'm gonna actually place this order and then we can see. So one thing that I always do, um, so I'm gonna put this order in right now. One thing I always do, just because I've seen and I've made so many mistakes with this, is I always go and check the MAR. Let me update it. And just make sure that it's scheduled for the right times. Because especially when you're putting in multiple orders at the same time, it can just get really confusing and there's a lot of room for error as far as the timing of these. Like I've had multiple times where I put in a medication and then I realize it's not actually scheduled until the next day, which would be terrible because the patient needed the medication right then. So then I'll have to go back and update the order. One kind of nice thing you can do in Cerner, if you do make a mistake or need to change an order, is let me refresh this page, is you can right click on it and then cancel and reorder. and then it just lets you like change, like say I actually wanted to just start routinely instead of right now, then that would change. That didn't change it, but say you want to change something, you can just do this and then sign it again, and then go back and check just to make sure it's yeah, so that switched it to routine, so it's giving it at 9 p.m. instead of right now, and then it discontinued the previous order. So I think that's kind of good to know. So that's the orders. One other common, so there's orders for all sorts of things that we do in the hospital. One other common one that's good to know is the communication order. So the communication order is in, you just type in whatever you want here, and this goes to the nurse, and they'll see it. A lot of times I would call the nurse too, and just make sure they're aware of the order you put in. But that's another one, and there's a lot of orders. So the second half of this video, I want to talk about order favorites. This is something I've done for a while for outpatient, and then I kind of just started doing it for inpatient. And then I also have to give credit to Dr. Sumeru and then Dr. Hope Perkins for they've made a bunch of these, and I've kind of stolen some of theirs. So the order favorites are nice. So when you pull this up, this is kind of the home screen for your orders, and these are all of my favorite folders. So there's one for like morning labs, and then you can just click these, and then they add on to here. So basically you don't have to like retype out every single one. But I would really recommend, as far as the new interns especially, to copy a bunch of these. You don't have to get all of these if you don't want to. I would definitely do the morning labs, and then kind of whichever ones you see that would be useful. These ones I created recently when I was on nights. We have a lot of rapid responses, and so they're kind of quick orders for like different types of rapid responses. So those are useful. But this is kind of something I want to push as far as there's something I would recommend to the interns using, because say the attending says like, hey, order like a unit of blood on this patient, then you don't have to say like, oh, well, what's the order for that? And then they don't have to show you. You can just go here, and then that's the order to transfuse blood. Like, obviously, we're open to answering any questions, but the more you can do kind of on your own, the better things are. And so let me show you now how to steal people's favorites. So what you do is first you have to make sure, let me move this out of the way. So first you have to make sure you're on an inpatient encounter if you want to kind of use someone else's inpatient orders, and then vice versa for outpatient. So the ER it's considered an inpatient encounter as far as this goes. So we're on the right encounter, and then you go to the main workflow, go to inpatient QOC, and then go to shared here, and then type in the person's name. And these are all their order favorites or folders. So say I want to copy this folder, and obviously this is going to take some time, but I feel like it would have some good, it would be a good investment with good payoff if you take the time to do this. So this is his AKI folder. So basically you go and just select all these. So yeah, whoops, I have all 6 of those. And then you'll see this little box, click here. Click modify details. And then it's pretty simple from here. You just highlight all the orders. If you want to change a specific thing in the order, you could go into each one and change it before kind of freezing them and saving them. But basically highlight all of them, right click, and then click add to favorites. And then you do new folder, and then like title it, say AKI. And then I won't actually go through this because I already have these, but then click OK. I'm just going to cancel out of this, and then that should kind of do it. Let me see. let me just see if I can get back. So that should, doing that, those steps should have added it to your folder. Then you would just go back here. And then you should see it pop up here as far as that new AKI folder that you just made, and then it would have everything under it. And then, so I would really recommend people go through and do that, at least ones that you feel like would be important. Maybe you don't have to do all of them. The important ones I would say would be AM labs. This one's pretty useful too, like electrolyte replacement, because that's something we do so often. And so, yeah, I think that's everything for this video.